Okay, everyone, thanks a lot for coming. That was Consti. Can we have some applause for him? So my name's Aaron. I work for RaveSpace and Musee Dezentral. First of all, thanks everyone for coming. This is almost overwhelming that so many people showed up, but it's so cool. Our first speaker is PortraitXO.
Can I speak on this? Or actually, it's fine. Hi, wow, okay. This is the biggest amount of people I've seen in general in a long time. So it's also quite overwhelming for me. So yeah, just a brief background on me. I started off in music, and just like most of us music artists for the last couple of years, it's been really weird, and so I got stuck into the metaverse. Is that better? Okay. So I spent a lot of time getting more into 3D art and exploring all these new digital spaces. And so I'll just do a little recap of what the last year has been like and how I got into the space, some of the projects, and some of the collectives that I'm part of. So my mentor sent me this morning. So we're on topic. The word metaverse has been skyrocketing. And I have a feeling maybe by next year, we're going to be pretty sick of this word. So last year, I was supposed to release an AI album that I created as part of my artist residency at Factory Berlin and Sonar Plus D. And everything got canceled. And I had this opportunity to create a metaverse for a new platform called New Art City. And so I thought of, instead of doing a solo show while I was trying to navigate how to work with this new concept of putting virtual exhibitions online, I opened it up to a community that I started called Sound Obsessed, which involves sound artists and musicians who are working at the intersection of arts, science, and technology. And so there were two iterations. There were two iterations because I found out that I could create this metaverse, but the editing version allowed me to fly, and the official version didn't allow flying until now we can fly. And so what you see there are, they're just little 3D objects of floating spaces, and the concept was to create a little floating stage for each of my artist friends and showcase each of their works. And so there were a lot of really interesting hurdles of learning how to work within an online format of file sizes, file formats, and everything was created on Blender, which is an amazing free software if anyone here hasn't gotten into it. Highly recommend it. It was a lot of fun to just have something else to work on also because a lot of alone time at home. And so it's been really fun because I was part of the beta phase before they launched the space. And I guess the closest thing to this is Mozilla Hubs, but it just offers you a bit more customization. And the exhibition is still online, so you are welcome to explore it if you'd like. It's newart.city/soundobsessed, and these are just some of the clips of some like AI audiovisual stuff that's happened quite a lot last year with some of the community here, and there's a lot of really interesting artists to explore, such as you might notice some of the artworks here. Moises goes by artist named Hexorcismos. He's been doing a lot of really fun AI generative audiovisual stuff. And what's been really exciting is since this metaverse happened, we started getting a lot of attention from some of the labels that were interested in trying to also understand how to navigate these new spaces. And so it was nice to also give some of these artists some new ways of showcasing their art and also getting some fun projects along the way. And internet. Okay. This was probably one of the craziest projects that happened this year. We started talking about this in December, and then January, we started really making the plans for this. And what's been really fascinating has been working really closely with Anna Ofek, who was the creative director behind this project. And I stepped in more as project management, and I helped bring in some of the talent. And we went from 0 to 1,000, because then the goal became to create a 60-minute video. And it was an intense project because there wasn't a workflow for anything like this. And they decided to create it into a fully rendered video, because at the time, the pain point was doing something like this real time was just so heavy. And we were talking to our friends at Club Quarantine and getting to grips with the technical hurdles of doing something like this live. And so I think everyone who's been working in this whole metaverse building stage has all faced these pain points. And what's exciting is it's a very open community from what I've experienced so far. So we were able to have a lot of really helpful conversations of like, what's working, what's your workflow looking like, where are your pain points, what's not working, and things like that. So this also involved, I'm just gonna kind of fast forward through it. And Anna, who comes from a very strong art cultural background, it was just really amazing to learn a lot from how she worked with a museum. So this is Foundation Baylor, and they were the main funders for this project. And I learned quite a lot of learning about museum culture, and there's a very specific way of navigating these conversations of how to work with the spaces itself as well as the artwork. So this was really exciting, intense. It was involving like 40-something pages of storyboarding. And it was a lot of fun in the end. There's quite a lot. So if you haven't checked it out, this is also still online to see. There's a lot of different pieces. There's motion capture. So we worked with Mimic Productions, who created the avatar of Dixon, and a lot of interesting pain points along that process as well to find out what that technology was possible to do and the limitations, such as like capturing fingers and how challenging that actually is. And when you have a brand sponsorship and you want to capture these close-ups, like how do you get past these kind of pain points? And so those were all really big learnings from this year. So after the New Art City Showcase happened, this was another project that I did some creative direction on for a band called Ill Peach. And the concept was basically furthering the storytelling of their music video called Gum. And the image on the left is the last image that you see, and it's very prominent in the whole video of this house burning down. So we decided to create a metaverse where it was like, what if you could go into the remnants of the house that's been burned down? What if you could visit what happened inside of the house? Because in the music video, you actually don't get to see any of the inside of the house. So I think this is where metaverses can offer a really interesting way of storytelling, and also offer maybe different types of content, like demo videos that you want to publish just in these specific type of spaces. You can repurpose like lyrics and 3D art in new ways. And Imaginaria, who did the 3D design on this, did a really amazing job. And so one of the big focuses that I work on as an artist is on AI-generated audio and visuals. So these are just, this is a commission project I did earlier this year, which I plan on chopping up into NFT releases at some point. And this is also online if you'd like to listen and watch. I'm just gonna go through everything as quickly as possible because I know time and there's not much sound, or well, there's no sound here. So this was the second biggest project of the year for PanPot, called Virtual and Reality, using very similar techniques to the Dexon project, but with a very different focus. So for this project, getting to know PanPot as the artists, their mission with this was to close the gap of being able to do real-time avatar performance. So they didn't want to do pre-rendered videos. That was like defeating the purpose of DJing. So for them, they really missed that energy exchange of performing live and connecting with the audience. So we teamed up with a company called Nexstar, and they're a fully all-in-one kind of a company that has motion capture as well as video game designers, interaction designers. They use Unreal Engine, and they have just pretty much every aspect of the creative and the technical side to bring something so complex to life. So it's been a very different experience compared to the other projects that I just showed. And this involves a lot more planning and a lot more user testing. And so the next project that we will have for this is on December 15th, we're doing another stream with some more upgraded features and some interactive elements also. So the whole idea behind this was for you as the audience member, when you're dancing, PanPot can see your energy and they can engage with you in a very audiovisual, dynamic feedback way. Sorry? So when you're dancing in it, you are one of the avatars on the dance floor. And so this view here is in chill mode. So we have flying cameras that roam around the space. But when you are actually in the system, in the client, in the software, and you're dancing, you control your avatar. And depending on how much you dance, you trigger different effects. And PanPot also gets a crowd meter on their side. And Thomas can throw lightning at audience members. And so from a artistic standpoint, we focused again on some AI visuals here. I really wanted to make this a cultural project and dedicate it to Berlin nightlife. And so we took direction from PanPot as well, because for them, it was really important to give an experience that would be a gradual progression where you can come into a space that is like a tribute to Berlin club style, at the same time a little different. And so there is a progression, and the show on December 15th opens up another state. So there's different states. Earlier you saw black and white AI-generated visuals. Those were thousands of images of brutalistic architecture from Berlin that were fed and generated into these visuals. There you see some bio art. And for December 15th, we're really excited because the sky opens up and there's a whole outer space experience.
So you say the Hello. Okay.
Hi.
Hi. So December 15 will be. How can you participate in this?
It's going to be on Twitch, and if you sign up to the experience, then you will gain an access to the client that you can download on your laptop. At the moment, our pain point with this experience is that you have to have a PC to download the client, which is kind of crappy. And we're working our way towards getting over that hurdle. I think with these experiences, there's so many different pain points, and it's either you go for something that's more stable and you download it onto your machine, but then at the moment, that's our big hurdle, is that, well, most of the people I know don't own a PC. Most of my friends are Mac users. So, but the good thing is that the experience itself is really fun, and we've implemented some different interactions that you can do as a viewer on Twitch, so that you don't have to download the software and you don't have to necessarily dance in front of the camera to interact. There will be some other ways of engagement on Twitch. So yeah, and this, yes?
Yep.
So it's going to be streamed with Beatport as well as NXSpace. I'm also happy to share, the last slide will have my contact details as well as other access points, so I'm happy to share further details. So this was the last project I got to work on this year for New Now Festival, and this was a really beautiful metaverse created by Journey. And Zesh Silverine was a coal mine, or it used to be a coal mine down in Essen, Germany. And for the experience, I created a playable AI audiovisual sculpture, which they then took all of the artists' artworks and created 3D versions, which was really cool. And so that was the first time I got to be part of a metaverse where they took physical works and then digitized it for the experience online. So I just received the sculpture back 2 weeks ago, and my plan is to 3D scan it and then see how that looks like online. For the metaverse that they created during the festival, it was a lot more simplified version. The sculpture has some actual original coal pieces from the coal mine that used to be mined from like 1,000 meters below ground. That doesn't happen anymore. And so when people touched each coal, they could trigger different AI audiovisual pieces. And the sounds were taking sounds of the coal mine, as well as canary birds and horses, turning them into instruments, and other AI models for interesting sound design type of stuff. This project is also on my website, and you can hear sound samples, as well as actually published all the samples that you're more than welcome to download and use freely. So, on the topic of NFTs, I actually have way more questions than I do answers. And so I'm looking forward to hearing the speakers from this evening, because this is where my head is about NFTs. I only started minting stuff a few weeks ago. I faced my own pain problems. Like 2 days ago on Hicket Nunk, 2 of my pieces weren't in my wallet. And then I had to go into like the group Telegram group, and there's like over 2,000 people, and everything's all fun and games until you need tech support. And then suddenly you're like, whoa, I gotta share all my transactions with like over 2,000 people and things like that. So I think there's a lot of hope and optimism with NFTs, and got the concept of decentralized governance is really interesting, and I am a fan of exploring alternative methods. But I guess, yeah, this is where we are. It's glitchy, it's really slow, but it's like this little baby web 3.0 that's just like learning how to walk. And I think it's really important to understand the impact of how it's impacting us as artists. How does it impact us as individuals? Like, what are the really cool options of smart contracts, which I think are really cool? And how does it impact our society on a cultural level, community environment, sustainability, accountability? Everyone I know who talks about NFTs, the other thing is you can't not talk about politics because of the conversation around DAOs, which is a whole nother rabbit hole, which I won't go into right now. Another part of this last year was a lot of research. Coco is another collective that I'm part of. This program was not curated by me. It was by one of my collective members, Caitlin Davis, and she put together an amazing group of artists and people who are working in these spaces of NFTs and metaverses. And one of the really important things I remember hearing was listening to Zora Jesus and Verite talk about their skepticism around NFTs, because this is another good example of the impact of NFTs on culture. So this was just released, was it last week? My concept of time is a little bit weird. He and Christ and Databots. Databots, who I collaborate with regularly for AI raw audio training stuff, they released this NFT, and it's the first quantum-generated audio-visual, and the response from the cultural side of things, from like the music fans, was just like, everyone's pushing against it, you know? And these are the things that we need to be aware of also. And so the more people I talk to about the impact of NFTs, it sounds like they're just totally different audiences. And it's trying to navigate and figure out, how do we cater to existing fans and music lovers, and also how to navigate this NFT space where we're still in the beginning phases of understanding what are these people into. Like, they're all on Twitter. You don't really find them on Instagram. And so my take on 2022 onwards, I think, on this topic of NFTs and metaverses is culture and community. How do we evolve in this space individually as well as collectively, both online and offline? We're becoming so much more digitized. And online plus, what I mean by that is I think it only makes sense that we collaborate and co-create, because resources are really limited. So if we want to make NFTs and metaverses thrive, and the whole point of decentralization means that we should be more open source in the way we work. I've been really inspired by open source culture and the way that community functions. I've never witnessed anything quite like it, and it's really amazing just to see what happens when there's a whole community of coders, and the competition is different. It's like this healthy kind of competition where someone will post a code and someone else will step in and say, I know how to make that better, here's my contribution. And so we are in this glitchy, strange space, but I think there's a lot of optimism too for growth. So my plans, my next steps between now and February is revisiting the release of this album that was supposed to come out last year. There's a little AI game. These are some of the things that I'm focusing on. And if anyone here is interested in being part of it, you're welcome to shoot me a message. I'm starting to open it up for like NFT collaborations and stuff like that. And I think that's a healthy way maybe for me to also kind of like share this journey with people, and maybe we can help each other figure it out somehow. These are some of the free things that I've been really excited about this year, and they're all aligned if some of you here haven't dived into it yet. And this is how to find me and stay connected. I'm on Instagram mainly, and Twitter. I'm starting to revive it. That's my email account and Gmail. And then the rest below it are the collective communities that I'm part of. If you are into sound, art, science, technology, you can find some more information, Sound Obsessed, and CoQuo for some interesting public discourse about all of these types of topics, and Flint Minted, which is a new collective. That's it for now. I'm a little out of breath now.
Hey, thanks so much. Does anyone have any questions? Where's that mic? Franco over there has the mic if you have a question. It does not work.
Hello, hello. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Any question?
Oh.
Can you pass it over?
Could you just go to the slide before the last, please? Will it work?
This one?
Yeah. Just want to take a picture. Do you mind going? Thanks. Yeah, you got it.
Okay, everyone, can we have a round of applause for PortraitXO? Okay, where's Clem?